Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be having a quick update on the tropics. So we got MS 96L getting closer to North Carolina. That could bring effects across parts of the Carolinas all the way up to Maine, at least along the coastline. We're also watching MS 95L in the Maine development region. Looks like chances of development's kind of decreasing on that system. We also got another tropical wave coming off from Africa, which will move to the northwest here, and that may not be much of any impacts for the United States, at least no threat as of right now. So we're just going to get started with this satellite imagery here, or the infrared satellite imagery, I should say. And we got a couple systems to watch again. We do have to remain to Nicholas, which is off kind of along the coastline of Louisiana, but we're not expecting any redevelopment out of the system. That's going to die out. But really the main system to talk about here will be MS-96L here, which is creeping closer to North Carolina, but it should start to make a northeasterly turn here away from the United States. Right now, we're only expecting very minor impacts along the coastline here that have highlighting here in pink here, or magenta. And across those areas there, that's where we're going to expect to see stronger rip currents and higher waves. And some of those higher waves may lead to a little bit of coastal flooding, but we're not really expecting any major impacts or anything. We're expecting very minor impacts. Really, the only state has a better chance to see impacts would be North Carolina, and maybe into southeastern Virginia as well. We also got MS-95L right here, which it's gotten a little bit disorganized overnight, but I still think the chances are decreasing with development on this system here. It's not really looking that impressive, especially with that 2UTT, or the tropical upper tropospheric trough out here. If it's going to still be a tropical wave when it gets there, I don't think it's going to survive it at all at that point. So I'm right now not too worried about that system. I'm also noticing here on infrared satellite imagery, there's a spin going on here in the middle of the Atlantic here. Got some showers and thunderstorm activity out there. So we may need to watch that system there as well, but that may just be a fish storm here, which looks like it's moving a little bit to the south here, but I think it's going to start to move further to the northeast as well. But that's a very interesting feature out there in the middle of the Atlantic. But this is what it looks like on the National Hurricane Center's outlook here. May need to refresh it real quick, see if it's got updated. No, it hasn't. Okay, good. So here's Invest 96L right here. Currently has a 70% chance of developing in the next 40 hours and 5 days. And you can see here, it may come very close to North Carolina and maybe southeastern Virginia as well. And that's why we're going to expect probably the better chance for impacts out of the system here. You may even see some shower and thunderstorm activity, but most of that will be kind of on the eastern side of the system here with that wind shear going on out there as well. It has survived through some of that dry air, so it's starting to gain some shower thunderstorm activity around the circulation. So it's starting to look a little bit better than what it was on the last update. Now we got MS-95L right here, which they currently have an 80% chance in the next 5 days. But I'm starting to have some doubts with the system here. But I think the possibility for a tropical depression is still there. If it's going to be reaching max intensity, I think it may just be a low-end tropical storm. At least that's what most models agree on as well. And then we also got this one right here, which is coming off of Africa. Currently has a low-end 20% chance in the next 5 days. Those chances may increase over the next several updates as well. But currently that has no threat to the United States as it continues to move to the northwest. And there's your remains of Nicholas, which currently has winds of 25 miles per hour. So let's check out MS-96L right here. Here's a closer look here. You can see here more shower and thunderstorm activity out there. And your main circulation would be probably somewhere right in there. That would continue to move up to the north. And that should start to make its northeast return very soon as well. And here's the tracks from the hurricane model. So you can see here, it may get close to North Carolina. But when it's just east of North Carolina, it should turn to the northeast here and move away from the United States at that point. If you also look at the intensity here, all the hurricane models are agreeing on a tropical storm with the system here, which could happen in about the next 24 hours or so. But it's going to be slowly gaining strength here over the next couple of days, but it seems like the max intensity looks to be a tropical storm. At least we got a good agreement for the hurricane models here, so that really increases chances for development with the system here. Here's the GFS ensembles. Not really that impressed as the hurricane models, but they do expect it have it getting deeper as it moves to the northeast as well, which may become more of a subtropical low at that point here. But then again, along the coastline here, from South Carolina up to Maine, we're going to see larger waves, stronger rip currents. So if you guys are going to be on the beach, please be careful along the beach lines, especially with the rip currents as well. We're not really expecting much of any shower thunderstorm activity out of the system here, but it's just the stronger rip currents and higher waves. And there may be that low end chance for some coastal flooding with some areas that can, areas that are prone to coastal flooding. Those are probably the areas that will have the better opportunity to see some of that. But really, overall, we're not really expecting any major impacts. But this may become a named storm here over the next probably maybe later, maybe as early as today. It may become a tropical depression. Recon's supposed to go over there later this afternoon, so we'll be interested to see what's going on with Invest 96L. Here's a look at Invest 95L. Not as impressive as 96L, and the malls are not really that impressed with development. We only got looks to be 4 different hurricane models on the system here. And they're not really that impressed here with development, but you kind of see here they do go towards the Lesser Antilles. They'll be going right towards the 2UTT, which typically with these here, you can shred storms apart here, especially where it's trending weaker. I'm starting to have thoughts that this thing here is probably not going to survive through that, since it hasn't really got that organized just yet here. It may become a tropical depression maybe as early as tomorrow. GFS is not really that impressed either, staying as a weak system here. And of course, you get the one member that kind of ignores a little bit with that 2UTT. Actually, no, it doesn't here, but that's the aggressive member right there, but I have doubts on that. Here's the intensity guidance. Most of them agree on a tropical storm, but I also have doubts of becoming a hurricane on this system here. If it can get organized very quickly, maybe we can get a high-end tropical storm, but right now, organization seems to be pretty slow with this system here. But that opportunity is still there for a tropical depression, maybe even a tropical storm as well. Looks to be only 3 different members bring it to a hurricane, and the HWFI brings up to major hurricane. And that's a model that's pretty much ignoring the 2UTT, so that's not accurate at all with that one as well. GFS parallel ensembles, not even picking it up on this system here. So right now, the models are not really that impressed here with development. So let's check out total perceivable water here. So you got MS96L right here. It actually shows a pressure or a low pressure system with the GFS, and here is, I believe that is MS95L, which is right there. And then you got this tropical wave, and we continue to move up to the northeast. So let's kind of play this here, and we'll move on to Friday. You can see here by Friday evening or afternoon, starts to move away from North Carolina. It's got plenty of moisture to work with. There's not much dry air out there, so you should not really have to worry about that at all with MS96L. However, with MS95L, there is dry air to the west here, and with that extra wind shear or that 2UTT, it can get some of that dry air into the center circulation. If that's the case, they can lead to a much weaker system. You kind of see here when it gets closer to 2UTT, it actually tries to develop into maybe a tropical storm at that point here, but when it starts to get to that 2UTT, you start to see that dry air starts to get into that circulation there, which is going to limit the intensification process. And then you can see here, then it starts to die out. Here comes another tropical wave, or that may actually be the same one, actually. And there's MS96L becoming a strong tropical storm. Well, at this point here, it'll be more of a subtropical low at that point there, but that will continue to move to the northeast. But look what happens to Invest 95L. Pretty much dissipates, and here's this other tropical wave out here. Like I said, I bet they're going to increase chances for development. You can see here, look to be more of a tropical depression indicated by the GFS model there, and it kind of fizzles out there as well. Let's check out the wind shear, and you can see here with Invest 96L, it will hit some northerly shear, at least on the northern side of the system here, but I think it'll do okay for that wind shear. Meanwhile, with this one here down here, Invest 95L, there's no wind shear at all. It just has to get organized there before it can start to intensify. You also notice the 2UTT right there, as you can see there from the wind shear. And look what happens when it starts to hit that 2UTT. Starts again within that wind shear. Some of the remains of 2UTT, or the tropical upper tropospheric trough. When it starts to hit there, you start to get quite a bit of wind shear kind of around that system there, and that's really going to try to shred that system there apart, which you can see there. And then at that point there, it dissipates. Meanwhile, you got this other tropical wave here moving to the northwest. It also starts to hit some wind shear with another 2UTT just to the northwest there, and that also could shred that storm apart as well. So really, the 2UTT is our lifesaver from these tropical systems, but unfortunately, it'll start to fade away. But also at the same time here, we got big troughs moving in across the United States, and that's going to keep tropical systems away. Here's a better look at the 2UTTs. This is a 200 millibar wind speed. And you can see here comes Invest 95L right here. This one here may become a tropical depression. And here's your tropical upper tropospheric trough here. And you kind of see this when it starts to hit there. The remains is still there, but you start to see that wind shear a little bit on the western side of the system there, and that's really going to shred this system here apart here. And bam, it pretty much dissipates here. And here's another part of the 2UTT, and here's another tropical wave right here that has that 20% chance of development. And it also starts to fizzle out as well. Really what's happening here is it's kind of like a low pressure system. It's like on the opposite side with a bit of a trough here. The winds in the upper levels are kind of going the opposite direction than the western side is going. So basically you have two, like in different levels here, you got winds going a completely different direction here. And that's what the 2UTT is going to do. It's going to make the winds go in the opposite direction, and it's going to shred it apart. So right now, I think the chances of survival for Invest 95L going for the 2UTT is very low, or at least surviving it is very low. Here's the European model here, and you can see here's Invest 95L. Now, I don't think this is a very accurate run here of the European model. It actually shows it surviving through it, which honestly has some doubts here, especially given the fact here it hasn't really got that organized just yet. But if you look into the upper levels, you can see here some of the remains of 2UTT is actually right here. It actually kind of cuts off here from the main jet stream here. But if you go a little bit earlier on, there's that connection right here. And your Invest 95L should be somewhere right in there. And eventually, it's going to get some of the effects here from the 2UTT. And what the European model says is actually going to survive through that. But I feel like afterwards here, it's either way. Even though if it survives it, there's a big trough moving in the United States here, so that'll keep this tropical system away. However, it may pose a threat to Bermuda, but it doesn't really show as an impressive system there at that point. But then again, we'll see what happens here with Invest 95L. It should be very interesting to see how everything will go over the next couple of days. But anyways, guys, this is all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you do like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, leave a comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.